Chuck here, just commuting to work. Nightmare commute. Got to go into the pit of hell. That'd be San Francisco. Um, left at 7 a.m. to try to get there by 9 a.m. That's like 34 miles from my house. But now it has me taking a back route. I got to go through San Rafael to come across the Golden Gate Bridge when I'm coming from Concord. It's just, I hate this. Hate the traffic out here. It's ridiculous. But I just decided I'd go live, and if I want to be a content creator, I got to have content, and just kind of go on a rant. Why not? So yeah, I'm driving out here. Normally, I got my little phone stand here, and I'll put on something off of YouTube. Today I was listening to Louder with Crowder Steven Crowder doing his Change My Mind events again. So I guess he'd stopped doing this years ago because it was just too dangerous. And after Kirk, what the heck, he decided he's going to start doing it again. And I'm all for it. I'm excited to see it. Of course, he has to take all these freaking precautions. In the beginning of the video, it shows him setting up. He's got bulletproof vest on and putting up bulletproof glass, and it's just insane what conservative speakers have to do in order to stay safe. I feel pretty all right now in my car driving on the freeway. Of course, I'm not wearing my hat because somebody's liable to take a pot shot at me just for wearing it. It's ridiculous, the time that we're living in. But so I'm watching him interview these people. His banner says oh, there's my wife. Generally, I won't be looking at the chat, babe. Okay, I won't be looking at the chat. But generally, we're doing 3 miles an hour right now, so it's not exactly imperative. But so Crowder's banner, at I can't remember what SMU I think he's at, and it says the left is violent. Change my mind. So of course, his guests, the guests that he invites up to interview, of course, they think that the sign, just that the question is divisive. I'm so sick of that word divisive. They don't know the meaning. But and it's not. It's calling attention to facts. We can't ignore facts. The media is left and right saying, well, it's political violence on both sides. That's bullshit. Bullshit. If there was political violence on both sides, their streets would be running with blood. It's not true. It can't be true. And the conservatives don't want that. That's why there's prayer vigils after Charlie Kirk dies, and Antifa and lefties out there stomping and kicking over memorials and out there with their bullhorns, chanting how, celebrating the fact that Charlie Kirk was killed. And I still can't get the sight out of my mind. Oh, thank you, Michael. I can't get the vision of that bullet striking him in the neck, the blood pouring out, him trying to catch it. It's permanently etched in my mind. So here I am, live. I don't do this crap. I wanted to for a long time, but I never had the balls, to get out there and just put myself out there for everybody to make fun of me. But I don't care anymore. You guys go ahead and make fun of me. Yeah, I got some missing teeth. I look like hell. Whatever. I'm your average American. Now I'm trying to turn my life around, trying to give up. I'm not trying to give up. I gave up the video games, which ruled a significant portion of my life. It caused a lot of problem and angst in my marriage, and caused me to neglect my children ever since they were born. And so I had an addiction, a video game addiction, and it might sound silly, but it's true. And I was installing, moving, or yeah, reinstalling solar panels for a customer in Oakland. And I get up there, and we're working. Up, lost you for a second. Charlie Kirk was hit. I saw the light switch go out right then. He blinked, and he was standing before Jesus. Easy there, Mr. F-150. I'm here. So, yeah, it's changed me. I picked up my Bible, and I'm pursuing my dream. Now that I don't have video games taking 8 to 15 hours of my day if I'm not working, more sometimes. I mean, I could easily fall asleep in my chair so that I could get up and not have to go to the other room to my video game. If my wife was out of town, I've done that 1,000 times. My wife's out of town a lot. She has a second job doing house sitting and dog sitting, and and so I would relish those times where it's like nobody was telling me, nobody was upset, I wasn't disappointing anyone, so I could just stay in my chair and play my game. I put probably 3,000 hours on Fallout 4. You know how many hours 3,000 hours is? You know how many days that is? Well, how many hours? Obviously, 3,000 hours is 3,000 hours, but yeah, I spent so much time, wasted so much life, and the amount of time I spent behind that controller, I could have built what Charlie Kirk had, what he built. And so it's time to make a change. And I appreciate all you lefties coming in here and leaving, nasty comments. Thank you. They really make my day. You have no idea. So please keep it up. When you get under the skin of demons, you're doing something right. So, yeah, keep it up. And so I'm watching these interviews, and there's a common theme. And Stephen Cutter hit the nail on the head. He said he was flabbergasted when he started doing the Change Mind events, how so many people have never even been exposed to a conservative mainstream idea. They have no idea who we are, and they don't want to know. They're taught to not want to know. Thank God the Department of Education's gone. Maybe we can start re-educating our kids instead of indoctrinating them. But yeah, so, here I am, just ranting away on my 2-hour commute, a 40-minute drive into the pit of hell. Oh, look, like I got 6 viewers now. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. Another like. Hey, all right. So, yeah, I've started a channel, and one of the things my wife and I, right after the Charlie's assassination, on the following Sunday, we left for Tennessee for a vacation, and got to spend some time with my daughter who lives out there, and her mom, and my daughter's stepdad. Well, we just call him Dad because he's earned it. But I invited them. I got them a room where we were staying for a few nights so that they can kind of hang out with us and enjoy Pigeon Forge, and boy, I wish, now in second thought, looking back, I wish I had booked in Gatlinburg. If you guys ever get a chance to go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, jump on it. Book a week. A day won't do it. We spent all day there, and we were supposed to check in somewhere else, but we didn't make it because we were stuck in Gatlinburg. I called and canceled the first night, had them check me in, or whatever the process was. But yeah, Gatlinburg, Tennessee. If you could go. It's worth it. You'll love it. I got some videos on my page from Gatlinburg. The Sky Bridge and the Gatlinburg. That's right. There's a Trump store in Pigeon Forge run by this old man, and I didn't have time to get any Charlie Kirk gear. I've been on the Charlie Kirk kick ever since. Like I said, the vision just echoes in my mind. So the first thing I do is I go to the Trump store and I ask for Charlie Kirk gear, and the guy had a couple of items that a distributor sent him, but he didn't even know who Charlie Kirk was. You know, he's an old man, doesn't watch the news, you know, he's basically living the dream. Boy, I wish we could get to a point where we didn't need to be interested in politics and daily events. Wouldn't that be one heck of a great world to live in? I feel like when I was a kid, we didn't have to worry about all this crap. You know, it wasn't so dangerous. You know, left-wing politics didn't rule the day, causing, you know, you guys want to talk about division, that's where the division comes from. And it's obvious. Look, I'm just here having a conversation, and the comments I'm getting from some of the lefties are like, I mean, I don't have time to read them right now, but it's vile. It's pure hatred. Conservatives don't do hatred. Sorry. You know, most of us have religious beliefs. And hatred is not a Christian, you know, it's not a Christian viewpoint. It's not a Christian principle. It's not what we do. So when Charlie Kirk gets shot, you guys celebrate. We don't do that. If Kamala had been shot, we would have mourned with you, because it's not the death of Kamala so much as it's the death of civility. It's the death of God's hand in our life. It's the death of spirituality. It's worthy of being mourned. So this fall from civility into anarchy, this is what we have to do. We have to do this. Sorry, everybody. Break out of your frickin' shell, step out of your comfort zone, and start telling the world what it is, man. Tell everybody who we are. Don't let the left assume who we are anymore. Show them. You know, Charlie Kirk did. Showed him and beat him left and right in debates. They could not hold a candle to his ideas. They could not defeat him in the marketplace of ideas. So they had to shoot him. What do you do to that? What do you do in response to that? I know what the left does. They burn towns to the ground. They light cop cars on fire. They shoot and beat people with freaking Trump hats on. Like this one. Now I'm a target. Isn't that sad? Should we have to live like that? Well, unfortunately we do. That's just the way life is right now until we can get it under control. If it's even possible. You know, they strip God from everything. The Pledge of Allegiance, the Ten Commandments out of courtrooms. You know, you have the left yelling about church and state, like they actually understand the definition of separation of church and state. It has nothing to do with keeping religion and spirituality out of lawmaking. Matter of fact, it's quite the opposite. The separation of church and state was meant to combat one thing: Marxism. The belief that the state should operate and run the church. Kind of like the church of global warming and the church of transgenderism and the church of whatever. It's a leap of faith to believe these things. You're believing in idols. It's idolatry. You know, so like, look at the education of our children. You know, I'm not going to say who it is, but I know somebody very close to me. Legal drinking age. Doesn't know that, well, didn't. I had to educate this person. Didn't know that men do not have mammaries and are incapable physically of breastfeeding. Their response was, but they have breasts. Seriously? Come to find out, the liberal arts high school she went to didn't focus on any of that kind of biology and stuff. You know, and I don't want to get too much into the story because I'll give away who I'm talking about. You know, and I don't want to put them on the spot. Finally making some real headway. And now I'm dropping more clues. Alright, so I'm going to change the subject. So, Crowder's interviewing these people, and they refuse to admit that this is left-wing extremist violence, you know, or even that the left is more prone to violence than the right. I mean, look at I'll call it for the same damn example over and over and over. Look at the prayer vigils after Charlie Kirk. There was no riots. There was no burning and flipping of cars. There was no taking over of entire towns. There was no shooting up the DNC and news stations that reported the facts. None of that was happening. Except for on the left. What? We couldn't go 3 days without the left having another attack. It's been pretty consistent. You know, you have the news studio in Sacramento. They shot it up because Kimmel lost his job, because Kimmel was irresponsible with his words, and affiliates dropped him, which is, they're well within their right. You don't have, you may have a freedom of speech, but you don't have a freedom to make everybody agree with you and broadcast your speech. There's no amendment or constitutional amendment for that. Sorry. And just like here, you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave. But you don't have any right to say I shouldn't be able to say it. You know, I'm not calling for violence. I would never call for violence. I'm not interested in violence. Self-defense, now that's a little different. So I recommend everybody sign up for your CCW classes like I did after the arena stabbing. Sign up. Become legal. Become responsible. It may just save your life and the lives of your friends and family. We're living in dangerous times. You know, the left want to strip you of your right to be armed. The left want to strip you of your right to defend yourself. Well, I'm not going for that. I ain't having it. It's ridiculous. So, jumping through the hoops. I live in California. It's difficult out here. But I'm doing it. I'm going to follow the law. I'm going to do it legally. I'm going to make it happen. And I'm going to be responsible. You know, because that's what citizens do. Citizens act responsibly for the sake of their society. And so these media personalities throwing out this narrative that people like me, just because I wear a hat or because I have a point of view, are inherently dangerous. It's ridiculous, and it's undemocratic. You know, the party of tolerance is the most intolerant party, well, I would say on earth, but I mean, that might be applicable, but at least in the United States, I mean, there is no tolerance on the left. None. Look what happens when you have a different point of view. So, yeah, there's no tolerance. Talking out their asses. Pardon my language, but... And all these media personalities, you know, the views and everything on CNN and MSNBC, and they're all in the same boat. They all support this political violence as long as it's against conservatives. And you know how I could tell you that they support it? By saying it's both sides. Because it's not. And they know it. They can't prove it. They can't point to any freaking stories of a conservative going shooting up a church. Well, there is that one point, yeah. I mean, we still don't know who that guy who shot up the Latter-day Saints church is. And there's a good chance that he's a conservative. But you know what? We would condemn him for that. Just because he's a conservative doesn't give him the right to do, what he wants in our eyes. It's BS. So we would condemn him. We would disavow him from our party. Instead of backing him up and supporting him like you lefties do. Make excuses. Oh, well, like Montel. Well, how would you feel if it's your first serious relationship and this guy's preaching hate, which he never did. A total lie. No hatred ever came out of Charlie Kirk's mouth. Prove it. Prove me wrong, as Crowder would say, as Stephen Crowder would say. Prove me wrong. You can't. There's no hatred. You could, and a 5-second clip taken out of context doesn't count. Because I've, just in this 22 minutes, you could probably get quite a few out of context 5-second clips from me. So, and I invite you to do it. I invite you to do it, put it out there. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Help me out. So, yeah, now I'm driving through probably the most liberal part of California, Marin County. Hello. Hello, how you doing? So, yeah, driving through the most liberal part of California, Marin County, heading for the Golden Gate Bridge. Yep, I don't see anybody. I don't think anybody's really noticed me. Been kind of a rainy day, so everybody's actually got their eyes on the road for a change, which is kind of nice. But yeah, so here we go. Driving into the pit of hell. The only place I wear a mask. I'll go home, take a shower, wash it off me. But yeah, I can't stand this place. Can't stand it. Commuting there is a nightmare. Parking is a nightmare. Every house is 4 stories tall, and I got to work on the roof. Nope, not a truck driver. I'm an electrician. But I drive a lot because we go where the money is, wherever we got to go. So it's not uncommon to have to drive 2 hours or 3 hours to a job site. Try to avoid it, but do what you got to do. You got to go where the money is. So here I go. Just making, like I said. So you got soft hands. Not exactly. Maybe right now. Took a shower this morning. Used moisturizer. But actually no, I don't use moisturizer. If I need to moisturize my hand, I just spit in them and rub them together. But yeah, so just figured I might as well start filming. What the heck? Why not? Isn't that what people do these days? Put yourself out there, make a fool of yourself, and get yourself known. I don't care anymore. I just don't care. I think people need to know who we are. And if we don't start telling people who we are, how are they to know? So I invite everybody, put yourself out there. If you'd like to do an email, an interview on my channel, I've been doing lives. I do a Bible study every night and a daily devotional at 8 p.m. or thereabouts. Oftentimes with my daughter in Tennessee, she joins me. Sometimes there's a little lag. But, we're new at this and we're just learning the ropes. Starting to build a pretty decent following. Yeah, I increased 500 followers in less than a month, so I'm really excited about that. I don't know if that's good growth or not, but hey, feels good. And so we're just going to keep it up. And the goal is to get out of this van. The goal is to get off of the roof. The goal is to get some financial freedom and the ability to do some more philanthropy kind of things. I mean, I want to give back, but I got to put on my table first, and that's the challenge, especially in California. Everything's so expensive. Gas is $5 a gallon. Well, depending on where you go. It's actually gone down a little bit. I saw it like $4.13 the other day. I was like, woohoo! But the first time I drove into Nashville out of the airport, saw $2.53. A tear formed right here. I couldn't believe it. $2.53 a gallon. I told my wife right then, we gotta move to Tennessee. I would love to get out of this state. And we need to get out of here before they build a wall to keep us in. There's too many job providers leave, and what are they gonna do? You know, who's gonna hire anyone? Where's the money gonna come from? From Trump. They're not gonna, get all to be given away and spent foolishly. I mean, we're literally giving Gavin the money to fund opposing Trump, using taxpayer dollars to go against the duly elected president, who I called it. I knew he was going to win both the electoral and the popular vote. I knew it. Even my friends were skeptical. I marked my damn words, I told them, and sure enough, it felt good to be vindicated. I love the feeling of vindication in the morning. But yeah, so I called it. We were up on that bridge in Lafayette for 2 weeks straight doing our Trump rallies. That was some fun. That was when I first started to break out of my shell. I was still addicted to the games, and I would pull myself from them long enough to go and do my rally. But they were still like in the back of my mind. Like I couldn't stop thinking about picking up where I left off. But that thought process is gone. It's gone from my mind now. Like I said, my PlayStation hasn't even been plugged in since September 13th? 13th? Yeah, September 13th. And that's amazing. I used to take it with me. I bought a special case so that if I was going out of town for work for 2 nights, my PlayStation came with me, and I checked hotels that had TVs with HDMI ports. If it didn't and the controller didn't work, I'd change hotels. I had to have my game. And if I didn't feel at home. That's sick. That's a sickness. And I'm cured, thanks to Jesus and Charlie Kirk. Thank you, Charlie. Couldn't have done this without you. Without your sacrifice, I'd still be sitting behind that game in my hole, my game room. Instead, I've left the game room. I've moved out into the living room. I've encouraged my wife to come and sit with me. At work, you can do your work. She works from home, and I can do my streaming. And we would have to leave the room for a phone call or whatever, if I'm doing a live like this. But yeah, we can finally start doing stuff together. Like, I wasn't interested in playing games with her. She couldn't play the games I was playing. And I didn't have the patience to teach her. And besides, I usually played role-playing one-player games. So it was just a giant barrier in our marriage and in my relationships with everyone. So I encourage you guys, you know, especially you gamers, you know, take a break, see what life's like without it. But that's only, I mean, you have to be ready for it. You have to have done like I've done for the last several years. I could sit there and play for 18 hours straight, and in the back of my mind, be telling myself, you're wasting your life. You're wasting your life. You're wasting your life. I didn't care. You know, I'd be shutting down that Jiminy Cricket, telling him to shut the hell up. Leave me alone. But yeah, here we are. You guys in front of me. Nice to meet you, Waterloo. You really do fuel me. It doesn't do what you think it does. I love it. It's like, you ever seen the movie Constantine? When he walks in and all the, oh boy, the demons take one look and they hate him with a hatred that can only be defined by the devil. He must take great pride in that hatred that the demons throw at him. And I take the same kind of pride in the hatred that you guys throw at me. It fuels me. So please, don't stop. I need the motivation. Oh, okay. Oh my God. We've just crossed the Golden Gate Bridge. Well, easy there. You don't have to be in this lane. Wow, what is wrong with people? So we just crossed the Golden Gate Bridge. I am 3 miles from my job site. And in order to be able to have a job when I get there, I'm probably going to have to pull this hat off and put on my regular work hat. You know, hey, it sucks, but that's what you got to do. Because the intolerant left couldn't tolerate having someone in their house that didn't agree with them 100%. Yep, got to get the old reach around. You know how it is. I'm sure you do. I'll speak from experience. Maybe you can recommend a place. Oh, okay. Studio and Arena. All right. So yeah, if you see me, wave at me. You may not notice you because, you know, I'm driving and live streaming and trying not to read comments. There we go. All right, well, since I'm getting so close and I'm going to have to focus on the dresses and everything, I'm going to let you guys go now. But, you know, this was fun. I think this might be a more normal thing. So, God bless you guys. Make a right turn here. God bless you guys, and we'll do this again. All right, later, everyone.